Linear throttle. Pegged out for a second there. Today we got the Blackjack 24 out. We're going to be doing a test with the handling and speed with the 8,000 milliamp Ovonics 50C packs, and I bought a brand new set of Venom Fly 2200 3S packs for the boat, for this video. Really, I wanted to see what it did with the 8000s, and I want to see what it does with the 2200s in the Blackjack 24 with the Turnigy 3665 2100 kV Turnigy Marine 70 amp ESC up there, and dual packs. I kind of modded out the inner skeletal system so we can fit 2 packs in there, and I'm just gonna see what it does. Alright, so the boat is actually kind of porpoising a little bit. See that? Whoa. Ooh, she got some nuts with that prop on it. Man, oh, I think I just spun the shaft. Oh, y'all hear that? Alright, well, it's time for a new shaft. Well, I guess in this video we're going to be doing a shaft, installing a different flex cable, different strut. I'm going to use what I got because I don't feel like waiting on shipping. I got a few different cables at the house. We'll try to get to work with this boat. Alright, what happened here? Woo! Yeah, yep, she's spinning in the collet. Look at that. You can hear it. Look at the smoke coming off of it. Let's tighten it up some more. Yeah, that's it. Crimped onto the cable for so long, you see that? That it's actually like compressed the cable, and the collet won't actually tighten down on it anymore. So we're gonna have to replace it. I got it thinking about it. Those batteries are heavy for this boat. This boat's only 24 inches long, and those were 6,000 milliamp 50C packs, which are pretty heavy packs. With the weight of the boat with those packs in it, and just kind of an older shaft, cheap shaft, I think that's why it spun. I haven't really had any issues with that shaft at all since I've had this boat. And you know, running it heavy like that, it really did a number on the end of the flex cable. So a light boat's a happy boat. What happened? Go to the Blackjack 24. I took all the electronics out of the boat. I prepped it up, got the stuffing tube out, getting it ready for our new stuffing tube. I had this .150 flex with 3/16 shaft laying around. We're going to change out the strut. Now this is a strut. It's brand new. I've never used it. And I have a bushing that will fit in it, but there's a little bit of play. So if I shim it up using this brass tube, then we should be able to use it. Alright, build. You know, it just broke, and I don't want to order one right away. I just made an order for the twin motor build. You know, I just spent a couple $100, $300, and my wife will kill me if I have to order something else right now. So, so we're going to use what we got. Alright, I'm thinking about using this guy here, but my cable was a little short for that. So yeah, I've actually taken the rudder off. There was no sealant on the rudder, and I'm thinking it's the same way with this. So if you guys have water in your boats and your stuffing tube is sealed up correctly, I would definitely seal up your hardware. Something I've been meaning to do, but just hadn't really got around to it, or basically hadn't felt like doing it. So yeah, I got the foam out of the bow. this little piece of foam, we're going to replace it with a thicker piece because the boat's going to be heavier on Success. We got bigger electronics, heavier electronics. So I was just wanting to, you know, put a little bit more flotation in the boat so she don't sink. All right, so I guess we'll start off doing that. Got the motor out. Let's check out the collet here. Let's see if this new cable will fit the collet. Okay, so I don't think it's gonna fit. I didn't think it would. So this collet, I think this is for the 0.150 cable. Yeah, so it's a lot longer than the stock collet. You see the length difference? Alright, slide the new one on, or slightly used one. Now let's see where it sits at in the boat. Alright, so it's actually sitting right on the stuffing tube mount. See right here? So what are we going to do about that? We're going to cut the mount off. Yeah, I'm going to cut that mount. I'm going to cut it right out. Brass. So it's actually, it'll stay where we want it. Oh, aluminum was, they needed a mounting spot, which would probably put some type of mount in there for this, but it's not going to be the stock one, that's for sure. Hacksaw. I'm just going to do a flush cut on it. Alright, so I've been working on the stuffing tube, getting it lined up. So what I've actually done was I shimmed up the back of this motor right here, this motor plate. You can see the zip tie. See that little zip tie? I super glued the zip tie onto this inner skeletal platform and just basically made more of an angle down with the motor. I really didn't like the way they had it in the first place. Since I've cut this stuffing tube mount out the way, I'm able to get a little bit more angle on my motor, which I think it meets up to the stuffing tube a little bit better, my personal opinion. So you basically just want to make sure that your stuffing tube lines up to the collet like this way. You know, you don't want it like cocked off to the side like that. You want it lined up perfect with the collet. You want it in line with the motor, okay, and you want it to basically come out the bottom of the boat exactly where you want it. You don't want, you know, it coming out at one angle and then bending it later on. You'll kink it out right here. I've learned from experience. If you go ahead and put the bend that you think you need in it now, you won't have any problems with it later, you know. But that's about where I want mine to come out at, kind of in line with my rod pads. Is a good starting point anyway, you know. Kind of get it lined up with your rod pads, the bottom of the boat, and then you can, you know, put minute adjustments in it later on if needed. I think I'm just going to use 5-minute epoxy for this one. Usually I use 24-hour, but I'm just going to mix up some 5-minute and work quick. 24 hours the best, and that's what I recommend anybody to use. This is a plastic boat, and the odds are with this plastic boat, I've noticed epoxies hadn't stuck to it real well. So I'm just going to use 5-minute. I'm not going to waste my time with 24-hour. because I probably have to seal it up later on anyway, you know, break loose from the ABS plastic hole or whatever. So you guys see where I got my stuffing tube pushed up? I got it pushed real far up, basically as far as I could push it. So I'm just kind of pouring it in there and let it seep in and kind of like move it back and forth so that the epoxy gets everywhere. The reason I had it pushed up far is so I can move it back and forth and kind of pull that epoxy into the through hole. Tip it back so all the epoxy runs down into the hole. Yeah, if this was a fiberglass boat, I would have used 24-hour epoxy. But it being a plastic hull, this epoxy just don't stick like it does to a fiberglass boat. And the odds are I'm gonna have to do it again in 6 months or 2 or 3 months, depending on how much I use the boat. So I just don't see the reason waiting 24 hours for this stuff to kick off. I'm just gonna have to basically redo it in a few months anyway, because it broke loose from the hull and leaking like it did from the factory. So we got epoxy coming through the hole there. That's good to see. Now's the last chance you get to line it up with your strut, with your stuffing tube, with your collet up here and everything. What I like to do is I'll put my cable in. I'm gonna put my liner in as well. Go ahead, slide my liner into the stuffing tube and put my cable in the collet. That's what's gonna kind of line up our stuffing tube at the motor end. Alright, so I'm pushing the cable in right now into the collet. Alright, we got the cable in the collet. That's gonna hold the stuffing tube in place on this end. Okay. The strut on, and that's going to hold this side of the stuffing tube where we want it. Okay, make sure your shaft is parallel with the sides of your boat. You don't want it to veer one way or the other. Make sure it comes out right up under your strut bracket, your stinger housing. I think the most important part is the bend you put in your stuffing tube and how it lines up to your collet. If it's out of whack up here, you'll wear motor bearings out. If the stuffing tube is cocked off to the side, putting pressure on the shaft, your motor shaft, it'll actually wear your bearings out quicker. So make sure it's lined up like as perfect as you can possibly get it to the collet. That's going to save you guys a lot of money later on down the road. I like to put mine about where the collet, like when it's unscrewed to its outermost position, I like to run my stuffing tube about right there. That way once I screw my collet in, only about 2 or 3, 4 millimeters at the most gap once you have your collet tightened down onto the shaft. So it looks pretty good to me. I'm gonna let it kick off for about an hour or two. We'll come back and start installing all the hardware marine adhesive sealant. It works pretty good, and yeah, about there. Everything's kicked off in the boat. I'm gonna slide my strut onto my stuffing tube like so, and we're going to mark where I need to cut it at. I'm running this bushing that kind of sits inside the stuffing tube, so I want it to be flush with the back of the strut back here, basically. Again, I'm going to use this tube cutter to cut my stuffing tube off. Alright, so I got my bushing in. Slide my strut on. Perfect. Perfect. Got some Loctite marine adhesive sealant. I'm gonna seal up this bracket. I wish I'd have done this right here a long time ago. You know, 20 minutes or so. You don't have to fight with washers and nuts to get these brackets off, and it will actually benefit you later on. Keep water out the boat. You know, just kind of take the extra precaution. It only takes a few minutes. I should have done it a long time ago. I just hadn't really got around to it. One of them deals. I've got to get my Teflon liner out, and it's way up there. It's, you know, you can't really grab onto it. I came up with this a little while back, and it was really by accident. You see how I had this? This is a pick tool I use. I make them from like one-to-one boat steering linkages, and I had like a nice sharp tip on it, and it actually got rolled over and bent over. You see how it's like a little hook there? You see that? But that works really good to get your Teflon liner out of your stuffing tube. Check this shit out. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was like an accident, but I left it like that because it works really good. So you learn something every day, huh? So I need to cut just like a cut hair off the end of this Teflon liner. All right, that way this bushing's not pushing it up into my collet. All right, then that goes in there. Hopefully I cut it the right length. Let's see. All right, and then my bushing should sit right in the bracket, just as pretty as you ever want to see. Look at that, huh? Yeah, yeah. All right, so we'll throw the hardware in, and we'll spool it up real quick. Throw the shaft in there, grease it up real good, and yeah, 0.150 shaft. It's only a it's not too much bigger than a 4mm shaft. So really, it's not that much of an upgrade, to be honest with you. Check for heat. Ooh, no heat, no heat. Good deal. So that's how you do it. That's basically how you do your stuffing tube. There's a few tips in there I could give you guys. I just kind of, you know, put something together. Some parts I had laying around, made it work. You know, you don't have to buy specific upgrade parts for boats. You get something that you like, something that's going to work, something suitable for your boat, and make it work. So the next video, we're going to put some 30C 3S packs in, 2200 milliamp, quite a bit smaller than the Ovonic. I want to see what we could do with the 2200s. That'll be the next video with this boat. Thank you guys for watching. Big B with Ironclad RC, a channel where we tinker, test, and tune everything RC. We'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good.